Fujin, Rain, Kabal, Onaga, Shang Tsung, and Shujin. Noob Saibot. Alright guys, thanks for watching and wait, was that too short? Let me try it again. I can nail it this time, I can nail it. Hey guys, it's that time of year where a new fighting game is announced, and we all write down our Christmas wish list. Last time Injustice 2 was announced, I put down like 50 characters I wanted to see in the game, but this time I thought about shrinking it down. Now, I won't be mentioning those who were playable in MKX as I feel like most of them would return, including Melina due to her being a stable character despite what happens in the story. So to start off my list, I put down Fujin. His first debut was in MK Mythology Sub-Zero, but the real debut as a playable character was in MK4 where he had a fucking crossbow. Called Plasma Crossbow. Thank you, Wiki. I remember playing MK4 on hardest difficulty one time, and Fujin was the funniest fucker around. Other than that, he made a few appearances here and there such as Armageddon, but mostly cameos throughout the franchise. Based on the ending of MKX and the trailer for MK11, if Raiden does become a potential antagonist, I would love to see which direction their relationship takes because the two are essentially brothers. Next up, Rain. Like Fujin, Rain did make a cameo in MKX but was a little more involved than the God of Wind. In Chapter 2, while playing as Mortal Kombat, we get to fight both Rain and Tanya, the latter becoming DLC soon after launch. Which brought hopes up for Rain as DLC, seeing as how his gameplay mechanics and design were basically finished and already implemented in the game. But soon after, it was confirmed that Rain would not be available as an official playable character. And I say official because there are PC mods in the community that let us witness his gameplay from a much closer perspective. But I would like to see him present in MK11 on launch, and not as a DLC like we had in Mortal Kombat 9.
Rain.
Kabal has been present in almost all Mortal Kombat games since his introduction in Mortal Kombat 3. A familiar face for all, and one that, too, made a cameo in MKX as a wraith under Quan Chi. His iconic mask, hooked swords, superhuman speed, and pepperoni pizza skin made his gameplay design very appealing to watch. To some, he was basically the Predator of Mortal Kombat before Predator came along. With Shinnok out of the picture, thanks to my boy, I think a good candidate to fill his shoes would be none other than Shang Tsung. This man has quite the history with some of the major ballers, but also history with the gamers. Although presumably killed in MK9 by Shao Kahn, this man never truly stays dead.
Quan Chi defeated Shang Tsung and reveled in his conquest.
Absent in MKX, this is the perfect time for his return debut after 8 years since his last incarnation. Coming up next, we have Ogre, Onaga, the Dragon King. Thank you, Wiki. Although mentioned and hinted in earlier games, Onaga's first gameplay debut was as the boss for Mortal Kombat Deception. Onaga was never present in more traditional 2D play Mortal Kombat games, so I think this is a great opportunity to bring him in and see how powerful he can be. I don't think Onaga was that well developed character-wise, so there's a lot of potential I would like to see, especially with Shao Kahn returning as confirmed DLC. And it kinda looks like Shao Kahn has something on his arm, so hey, you never know. And because of Onaga, Shujin. I said I was kidding, but sorta. Although many think of him as a tool or a chump, his story was actually pretty depressing. Spends his whole life on a quest for what he thinks is the greater good, only to be used by Onaga himself.
Shujinko, please save me. Oh, fool. Damashi does not exist.
First appearing in MK Deception and present as the protagonist in its conquest mode, his gameplay is a combination of various characters, but I would like to see him standing out on his own and creating his own new legacy. Compared to the other characters on my list, he's not a top priority, but he's definitely more memorable than most I've come across due to his story. And before we get into the last character, here are some honorable mentions. Striker, cause
Police brutality coming up.
Sindel, and Nightwolf. And maybe Baraka. Maybe. But the last one on my list is none other than
Bihan? Yes, Kuai Liang. It is I.
more commonly known as Noob Saibot. I mean, it should be obvious why he's number 1 on my list. Jokes aside, he's like the edgelord without being overly edgy. He was once the original Sub-Zero, now a wraith after being killed by Scorpion and resurrected by Quan Chi, just without the boring parts of being a decent human being.
You and I both. We are flawed copies of our former selves.
I have no flaws.
On a technical scale of being both Bihan and Noob Saibot, he has been present since the very first Mortal Kombat, but making his debut as his latter iteration in Mortal Kombat 2, but only until Mortal Kombat Trilogy did we see his complete movesets using the power of darkness. Edgy. Who knows what happened to Noob after he got kicked into the Soulnado in MK9? Honestly, the writers could do anything at this point. Maybe there's a chance to restore some of his humanity so when he meets his brother again, the current Sub-Zero, it's not so cold-blooded. Literally.
It suits my purpose.
But brother,
We share blood. We are not brothers.
Then I will not regret your defeat.
Even in Injustice 2, Sub-Zero has a bunch of quotes where he mentions his brother.
Is it you, Bi-Han? I am freed from Quan Chi's clutches. Let combat prove your identity. Why did you seek me out?
You have escaped punishment too long.
You mistake me for Bi-Han, Atrocitus.
Such a frightful family history.
I do not speak of Bi-Han.
Touched a nerve there.
And that makes me has all the feels. NetherRealm games have come so far for storytelling in a fighting game platform, and if MKX and Injustice 2 is anything to go by, we're gonna get some badass cutscenes and epic cinematic moments with our favorite characters. But if Injustice 2 is anything to go by, Shao Kahn may not have a prominent role in the story, seeing as how Darkseid never really got involved, with the exception of the comics that took place before the game. And maybe this time as well, MK11 will have its own comic storyline that takes place right before the beginning of the game. But I hope you guys like my list. If not, it's okay. No, it's okay. I'm not gonna go cry into my timeout corner. It's okay. I'll just dislike my own video before anybody else does it. It's okay. But which characters do you guys want to see returning? Maybe from MKX, maybe from the previous games, or maybe just from comics or other source materials that are canon. I'm going to make another video specifically on guest characters. So in the end, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all next time.